Philip Lawrence Sherrod, painter, poet, composer. Going to read to you from the manuscript of their Mae Stro'S posthumous papers, 7 poems. Everything being culture of itself, and you and I, per se, cannot go home again. Thomas Wolfe. What's the use? Talking to ex-human Sherry Eve Rosenberg, kin of 1953 communist spy heritage, libertines de facto, wouldn't be fail safe. If Ethel or Julius had their way and constantly attacking me, lovingly with words, and would-be artist, ending up in Earth's head, inclined to pig out. 1959 bore, inclined to smoke, and where there's smoke, there's a mud pregnancy, so let's get it straight. As tottering on hill's edge near Toledo, El Greco's house, the climax ain't all fruitful. Says you, likened to heated boxer shorts, leaves you in Mudville, pretending to care about pre-Inca shrunken remains. So yesterday's phone call didn't happen, and Broadview Network has no record of it. Big Barbara cannot be found. Not her twin sister, with green and white tree of life dress, has vanished. Among the endless tombs of question paintings, request, King Tut, 'tis in a rut. And I must be buried with his priceless colored tools. As a fool to be exhumed at some later date, this leaves you and I nearly exhausted, nearly ready to pop, our gut like cholesterol pools of pity beyond the truth, and big-citied concepts that ain't right. Something's ain't right in Mudville. You saying you're gonna bring Lieber Chick over because she likes my paintings sounds a little suspicious. Her being 22, like, what are you up to? Reminds me that time in 1981, you wanting me to finish Irene, that Virgo friend of yours, one way or the other. Her married to the Australian psychiatrist and her running away to Europe. You saying you didn't smoke parliaments, but as always smoked Winston's. Point 2. Finding it difficult to therapeutize all women in state of New Jersey, with each different and feminine therapy needs, I, as Sheriff Phillip, got my badge to prove it. And my 10-star from Jackson Hole Country, Wyoming, given to me last August by one and only traveling slut and same sexual mistress LFN, and ending up lately with yellow envelopes and 2 proposals of a trollop's personal, sexual, and immediate deviant slatterns needs expressed both verbally and with extreme desires of a native's aberrant and twisted personality concerns of a need for gentleness and kindness in our ongoing relationship strikes me both absurd and funny, but also not without remorse. Of all other women used by me, Braggadocio Joe not being my name, that we men are entitled to harvest our loves like shocks of corn or bales of hay. Now ho ho hi ho, it's off to love we go, like 7 sexual dwarfs bent on turning one's girly needs into romance to cure the world-famous feminist hate malaise. Espouse for some 37-odd years that curious mixture psychologically where woman's needs meets her alter ego's little girl, and both have such a needs of extremely different natures, leads me to suspect Something ain't right in Hattersville, and Trollope did gallop, the horses swaying, and the ride was rough as a midnight rain. Yellow the envelope under the door, but the South-Orange whore yelled for more, and she rhymed badly and sadly like Deputy Bradley, and was at loose cannon for slut's sake. There 'tis and will be no progress. Like being a bitch's rake, bust me and my balls and shore up my Manhattan overalls and bring me to spiritual climax with Achilles offshore condoms and teach me sexual, artistical perspective like New York detective. From Celtic Druids to Irish, Scottish, Gaelic, Welsh, and Breton, Druidism. Forces of nature's worship were common, and priests, prophets, poets were derivative like now. Materialism, science, and Christianity hold the boat. Now artificial abstractions seal the deal. And now the blood moon 'tis evitable. The ancient Celts believe that Samhain or Halloween was one of nights of the dead. And Beltane, April 30th were 2 nights of each year, a thin veil that separated the living from the dead. And sources say this year was like any other. The Halloween buyers bought more ridiculous items celebrating the blood moon's dead. And we have completed the full circle. Now that's progress. That the unstable begin to write poems of longevity, reducing one's fortune after extensive research, I am inclined to agree that Beltane was the start of the cycle, and New Year being November 1st, and Hollywood produces 50s film The Walking Dead, behooves the living to watch out. 'Tis a lot of baloney, but truthful baloney. Beliefs concerning supernatural forces and spirits of the dead are most natural, and spirits that lied last year revisit the earth this year and leaves one most plausible, most uneasy, like snake oil salesman or poet inclined to shedding one's skin. And the other night, out of curiosity, I'm looking up old flames on computer, and in the Lawton obituaries I stumble across Walter Kenzel Cornett, deceased childhood buddy that was born 7/23/1935, son of Percy E. and Margaret V. Cornett, married to Doris Brandenburg, worked 22 years at Fairmont Dairy, worked 25 years at Pepsi-Cola Bottling Company. What a shock. Small-town Indian Cherokee and Kiowa died from cancer, the blood moon, 'tis evitable. The Walking Dead call, and I am born October 12th, 1935. Getting obscene phone call, 5:45 p.m. Thursday night. This is Allison. Allison? And we are going to be in your New York area with vacuum cleaners to celebrate cleaning up your life? Me retorting, Allison? Stop it. And I hung up exactly at 4:59 a.m. Friday. March 3rd, Nunez rings doorbells. Pouring down rain. Should have known. Me up and at 'em, typing out computer clean collusions, yet some would say I have fond memories of her playing with my Baldwin acrosonic, with her Puerto Rican fingers curled back at tips. Flexible at 20 years, and but 20 years later, showing up with Nunez again in pouring rain, symbol of wet buns. On Taurus, our musical love, rodeo make, me having moon in 4 degrees Taurus seems a little much. like waving red flag in front of bull, like matador, and my 4 degree of moon being in 10th house Cancer with symbol of Neptune in 5 degrees. Whoa, man. And the planets are being conjunct at birth. Figures, wet bull, and lot of bullshits like Nunez doing this because it's his birthday. But 20 years later, her remembering I touched her neck while she was playing Beethoven. Beats the living out of me that girls got poetical piano imagination, sexual longevity. Should have known her when I wrote Sexicon in 1985. Of course, that would have broke the camel's back. Me going steady with D. Alessio MOUS. What a cat fight that would have been. Puerto Rican versus Sicilian. America would have been brought to its CA feet, crabbing the bulls or bull riding its best Brahma crabs. But then again, I remember Lorraine Florence never on beige couch batting her green German hazel Sicilian eyes like, who done it? Did anyone get his license plate number? She'll be back again playing Elise. Good vegetable soup from Jess. Heat and add a dollop, not a trollop, of sour cream for garnishing the glands. She has a way of seducing the worded soup better than a chicken who wants to keep the doctor away. Being 36, 24, 37 when young, dark eyes and glimmering in hooded nights leads one into dark alleyways without a leg to stand on. Just like being in childhood a virgin and not knowing how to get over it. Some truth here, said the old-timer, dreaming of his inherited Greek island gift that has been repossessed by widower of Greek inventor Dumas, who invented the booster 2 phase for Apollo shot, going to shoot you to the moon, Judy, Diana, who that this 'tis dating the policeman that's shooting shallow bullets and going through no one's vestigial vest or AK who boo. You didn't or couldn't pay taxes on in anyone's lifetime, being pauper of visual cities and human dilemmas. And she said, do go whitey into that quiet night. Me a bumbling braggadocio lost to utilitarian favors, and I paid out a lot to be chosen to final plot. And who's going to get yours when you do? Your Rastafarian knot won't help you or not. With Rosicrucian issues, she said, give me a break. Like in at Indian Lakes Adirondacks with feathers and good luck, Swede means no steed's good enough for Sicilian's Marcus to ride roughshod over like Superman breaking his neck in equestrian riding. No ways up to lose the lost cup. Even if man-made, kryptonite, outer space, juvenile making decisions beyond her puberty rights leads one to question over answers times 3 and subtract 4. You whore, in my class I'm the boss, and no one's finer cross must I bear witness to weakness now. Gossip mongering street, does he have a Rastafarian or just a dreadlock? No, a crumpled horn, given to one as Pentecost for being a good boy, and for having done the bad girls, more than over twice. So that's more than we want to know. And he goes on and on in Manhattan.